Awesome. So, welcome Ryan Potter, star of DC's latest show, Titans. Pleasure to have you on the show today. So, how are you doing today, Ryan?
I honestly cannot complain. Episode 2 of Titans is airing, and I'm very excited.
Fantastic. So, first question, what was your audition like for Beast Boy? Because it's a bit of an interesting role, isn't it?
Yeah, it's he's definitely, I mean, he's a fan favorite character. What can I say? Like he's the jokester. He's the young heart. He's the optimism of the group, and being able to portray the character has been just completely mind blowing. That life has come this full circle. But the audition process was it was unconventional, to say the least. I was in Japan, and we had tried to set up this audition actually a few times prior to me leaving for Japan, but each time it just didn't quite work out. And when I was in Japan, casting and the producers had wanted a tape from me that I didn't have anybody in Japan to do a tape with, because I was with native speakers. I wasn't with anybody that spoke English, so I couldn't put together a self tape. So they had Skype called me the following day after I couldn't send them the tape, and we had done the audition over the Skype call. And I remember reading with the David Rappaport and the casting department. Greg Walker was also in the room as well. And we did the first scene, and I remember improving most of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and to be quite frank, it wasn't that I was underprepared. I just felt that they had seen 700, 800, I don't know how many tapes they had seen, but they had seen just an amount of tapes to make anybody sick of the lines that they've already heard. And Beast Boy is the kind of character that is a little bit
quirky.
He's quirky, but you can't expect things from him. And I kind of wanted to carry that quality of him into the audition. So my intent was to kind of throw them off with changing lines and changing jokes. And so we did the first scene and we did the second scene, and they were like, it's your time, the regular routine of ending an audition, and they said thank you. And they had given me a call, I think it was later that day. My agent had called and asked when I was coming back to the States so I could test for the role. Came back, tested for the role, and I thought I was going to do, like chemistry reads with some of the cast members. But we were so close to production that I didn't do chemistry read. I went from the Skype call directly to the test.
Wow.
And I think, David Rappaport and the casting department just kind of knew that I was a good fit. So, here we are now, about actually, it's been like 2 weeks over a year since that audition.
Nice.
So yeah, it's you take a risk and sometimes it pays off.
Yeah. As you said, Beast Boy is such a well of character, and he's been in Teen Titans, Young Justice. Where did you get your inspiration from for the role?
I pulled from every source material possible. I pulled from the Young Justice, the Judas Contract, the new stuff that people have seen, and then the Titans 52 arc, Jeff Johns Titans, Wolfman Perez, the new Teen Titans. I pulled from even the comic books that were written, like for kids, Tiny Titans, and Teen Titans animated series. So I think at this point I have been able to absorb every Beast Boy iteration that I can physically find and get my hands on. So what I did was, one thing that remains consistent in every iteration is his optimism and his humor. And it also his humor as a defense mechanism. So I've kept those three true to the character, but we, the writers, the directors, the producers, and I collectively have definitely taken new liberties with the character that don't stray too far away from his core characteristics. But in terms of storyline and in terms of whether it's physicality or whether it's costume design, there are some that people will be able to look at and go, oh, that's new, but it's very reminiscent of something I know. And for me, that's one of the best ways to do a remake, is not to just remake, word for word the original source material, but to bring it into the world while maintaining its most important values. And I think that's what we've done, and that's what at least I tried to maintain and do with the performance side of everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, he's not quite Beast Boy yet, is he? He's still sort of with Doom Patrol. So it's going to be a bit of a journey for him to get to Beast Boy.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Beast Boy is not, it does not become the Beast Boy that we know of until season 3 or season 4 if we get that far. Right now, we really are in the early stages of learning the backstory and the importance of certain characters to Beast Boy, because in the comic books he goes from one family to another, one team to another, and that whole arc is almost dismissed, aside from this one adventure that Beast Boy takes on to kind of find the Doom Patrol's killer. There isn't a lot of reminiscing, and I think thinking about the past isn't always interesting in comic books, but in a live action series, it's not that we're thinking about the past. We actually are just living the past. We're living those moments in which the trauma for Beast Boy comes from. We're living those moments in which we understand basically the depth of the character and where his defense mechanisms come from, and where his optimism and his true character and his nature comes from. It's not necessarily, it is source material in the sense that we're touching upon his storyline, but we're diving much deeper into it than the comic books ever did.
And I mean, you're sort of familiar with the whole DC world, aren't you? With your Tim Drake concept fight, which was really amazing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Will we get to see you perform more of your martial arts in Titans at all?
No. There's this ongoing joke on set between Anna and I that there's all these fight scenes in the season, in the series, and like the not that I'm the only performer that can do his stunts, because Brenton did a phenomenal job, and Alan and Minka all did phenomenal, and Anna was phenomenal. But there were doubles for all the characters, and the double that I had, I actually know him. Like, he doubled me years ago. And there are very particular things, very specific things that I cannot do that we bring a double in for. But when it comes to fight choreography, I can bring that physicality to the character. Was that all the actors who couldn't necessarily do their stuff were the ones doing it the most, and I was kind of on the sidelines. But it's okay. Like, I'm okay with taking a step away from martial arts driven roles, simply because as an Asian American performer, I'd like to be seen in new lights. Yeah. And I've been very fortunate with this project to focus almost solely on acting, because in the other projects in the past, I have not necessarily had that opportunity, because it's been so much about the martial arts and so much about being my race, so I had to play into it, which felt very unnatural. Now I get the opportunity to really focus on human characteristics and human traits, opposed to Asian American characteristics and martial arts characteristics. But not to go too far off topic, we will see a little bit of action coming from Beast Boy this season, and we'll see a little bit of that ability that I guess you guys saw in the Tim Drake video.
Yeah. Briefly touching on what you just spoke about, I mean, how fantastic is it seeing such a big show like Titans featuring such a diverse cast?
My answer with this, it's hesitant, because I'm interested to see how they continue the diversity on the show. I'm interested to see the additional characters they bring on, because as it stands now, as an Asian American media consumer, the show is diverse when you look at your 4 main leads. But and actually, to be fair, the show is quite diverse in many of the other episodes with guest star series as a whole. But I'm interested to see in whether or not we will be able to bring our our cultures, our ethnicities, and our creed, and somehow weave them into the characters that people already know and already love. I'm at a point where I'm not fighting an uphill battle as much as Anna is, unfortunately. There's still quite a number of people that can't seem to differentiate between a human and a fictitious character.
Yeah.
And I understand, these characters are very important to people, and they want to see them in the way they want to see them. But we live in the 21st century, and these characters were written in a time media and films and comic books were dominated primarily by the white face. And now that characters have the ability to be played by other people of color, we have to not only honor the character, but we also have to honor the actor, in the sense of, you can't just cast somebody for the purpose of it being a diverse cast. You have to include that person and that picture and that person's way of life. So I'm interested to see in how they will continue to intertwine me being Asian American and Anna being from, initially from Senegal. Not that, Starfire has to be from Senegal. Of course, she's an extraterrestrial alien. She's from a different planet. But there are subtleties that exist when you live in the minority, that the majority doesn't otherwise recognize. And I'm interested to see how our writing staff and our directing staff and our producing staff will be able to create storylines that are similar in the character's world, but also being a person of color, and how we can intertwine those two realities into the show. Because that, I think, to me, that is the true test of diversity, and not just casting people of color.
Yeah, definitely. Such a great answer. So you've got such a great universe to choose from. Who would you pick for an awesome cameo in the show?
Ooh, I know he's a Flash villain, and I know we've already seen him, but I would love to see Gorilla Grodd versus the Titan.
Yeah.
Simply because of how smart he is. I would love to see the battle of wits kind of between Dick Grayson and Gorilla Grodd. Or, this is pulling so much from the Flash universe. I don't know. I was going to say Reverse Flash. I don't know if there's a way the Titans could deal with Reverse Flash. I don't know. Yeah. Would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially because Beast Boy could go gorilla, and that would be such a dope fight scene. To see two giant gorillas, one brown and one green, just fighting. I don't know. That's me being a fanboy, though.
Nice. So moving on to Big Hero 6, you've worked with Disney and now DC. Which franchise would you love to go with next?
Oh, that's such an unfair question. Luckily, realistically, I and fortunately, I can do both. Yes. Because Big Hero 6 is a voice. That's a project that I can do kind of on the weekend while I shoot Titans during the week. We're doing the animated series as of now for Big Hero 6, and the show is just kind of taking off in directions that I never thought was possible, and I'm actually really excited that we're building the universe as much as we are, introducing new characters and bringing back old characters, and I think the fans have definitely been, for a lack of better words, shocked to see the direction in which the show's gone. So, I think if the animated series continues to build the universe, there's definitely a potential for another film. And Big Hero 6 is, to me, I think one of the most important projects that I've done, simply because of how colorblind the project is and how inclusive and diverse the project is. So
yeah,
if I were to see anything continue, it would definitely be Big Hero 6.
Yeah, nice answer. So we got some fan questions, if that's okay. Just a couple of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Jim Bob Squarepants asked, who was the most fun to work with on set? Also, the show is brilliant, and congratulations to you and all involved.
Oh, thank you. The most fun to work with on set. I spend a lot of time with Tegan, and she is brilliant. I honestly, if they had cast anybody over the age of like 17 or 18, I don't know if I would have been able to give as honest of a performance as I did. Like Tegan genuinely brought out so much of that inner kid in me, and I'm very grateful to her for that. But also to see how mature she is for her age is quite. It's incredible. So working with Tegan has been my favorite. Aside from Anna, Anna and I have a lot of fun on camera and off camera. So it's the whole. That's not fair though, because the whole cast is brilliant, and we're a family, and things are going good, and you know the classic answers, the Tegan for sure.
Fair enough. So Red Robin at Bumblewall15 said, "Do you still want to portray Tim Drake in a Batman movie?"
Red Robin, yes. Heck yeah, man. If that opportunity arose, I would definitely meet that call. You know, Tim Drake has an IQ of 163, something like that. And if he were Asian American, it would only be higher. So let's let's. I'm down, Red Robin. We said 93.
Yeah. And last one, Jaeger Crystal said, "Are you having fun with this character? Beast Boy is definitely to me one of the funnier of the DC characters. I've only seen one scene with you and Raven interacting, but it was great."
Yes, this is probably the most fun I've had on a live action project ever, simply because I get to be the pain in the ass that I like to be,
yeah.
But at work. You know, because you can be a pain in the ass and in your personal life, but you can't bring that to work.
No.
But with Garfield, I can. So I get to ride that fine line of professionalism and complimentary insults. That's what I like to call them. That's yeah. I don't know how else to answer.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. Appreciate your time.